Mr. Chairman, the budget will be presented by me, and it's got my name on it, so I'd like to at least have a chance to speak first. I'll be presenting the budget. I will not be voting yes as it's written. You know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to spend $3.2 million in deficit spending when we have no desire to figure out how to fund it. You know, and it's public. I propose an 8-cent tax increase, which would cost the average Hawkins County taxpayer an extra $20 a year, and that failed. It tied in committee. I will not be presenting another tax increase. I'm going to respect the wishes of that budget committee. Mr. Edens proposed a 4-cent, which would be about $10 average for the average taxpayer. I ran everybody's in the commissions. I've got everybody's home property values, and there's some of us that would pay an extra $4 a year, depending on just what your primary residence tax is. It is irresponsible, ladies and gentlemen, as a legislative body, for us to put the things that are needed in this budget. The things that we put in here are needed. Our economy's got a 9% inflation rate right now. I heard it this morning on the news. They've gone up again, and I know that our taxpayers are. You know, we're all in tough times. We're all having a hard time. But I will say it's going to be a whole lot tougher if we have to start cutting services. And I know that we hold that over everybody's head all the time. And, you know, our police officers are going to come and they're going to suit up and they're going to do their jobs because that's what they feel like they're called to do. And our 911 dispatchers, I went and toured that facility the other day. They're going to go in there and they're going to take those calls from people who are in the worst moments of their lives. They're going to take those calls and they're going to talk them through it because that's what they get paid to do. But unfortunately, a lot of them are having to work 2 jobs. And we're losing these folks to private industry that can pay a whole lot better with a whole lot less stress. So I will say I'm for everything that we put in the budget. I think it was needed. I'm not in support of the funding formula, and unless something happens when we vote on the commission as a whole, I won't be voting for this budget.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Speaks.
Well, I wanted to address 2 things. First, I would never agree to this budget either for some of the very same reasons. And unlike many of you guys, I still have an election I hope to win. And I will still say on record that I'm okay with the tax increase. And I'll tell you why. You say that it'll cost me, I'm going to guess high, $50 a year. I will gladly pay that. I always think about my kids when I'm making decisions here. I'll gladly pay that so that when I do call 911, my kids have somebody to show up, or you know, or when my crazy neighbor that gets out of control sometimes when the police have to come and calm him down. I will gladly pay $50 more a year to make sure that they come. You know, but the biggest thing for me, the biggest thing that just breaks my heart in this budget and with this commission is pay rates and increasing wages of our employees. And I was sitting here tonight and I was going commission member by commission member, and well over, to my knowledge, and I'm not going to call you guys old, so don't say that, but most of this commission are retired or semi-retired. You're at a point in your life where your house is probably paid off. You were able to acquire land in a time when people could afford land. Your kids are probably grown, mostly through college. Doesn't mean they're off your payroll. I've learned that, but still, you know, you grew up in a different time. My dad probably never made over $17 an hour. To my knowledge, I think that when he died, that's what he was making. And he had, my mom didn't work, and we had a home, and they always had nice cars. We had a 90-acre farm. We had, my college was paid for without issue. You know, he got to live the American dream. and provide for our family on a much lower wage. We're not there anymore. And I realize that if your home is paid for and you're retired and all that these wages seem like enough, but they're not. They're just not. And any pay raise that's short of the rate of inflation, which is 9%, is just a slap in the face. We have police officers that if they want to go buy a house, and I'm not talking about a mansion, I'm talking about a 1,400 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It's going to cost them $300,000. They cannot buy it. They can't, because their debt-to-income ratio at the bank will not pass. It doesn't matter if their credit's great. It doesn't matter about any of that. They can't buy a house. And so all the things that you all have got to enjoy in your life, that you now get to retire and enjoy the fruits of your labor, you're telling these people they can't have that. They don't have that right. These wages are absolutely atrocious. And some of these people, I don't even know why you come to work. I mean, I would probably, I guess, go anywhere else and work. I mean, you're dealing with the public, so, there's that stress. And I think that the people who do work here, the only reason you're even there is because you love Hawkins County. That's it. That's it. Because I know most of the deputies and y'all, you could go right up the road, not cost you that much more in gas, and you're going to have a much better paying job. I try to get my husband all the time to go to Kingsport City and teach, but he loves Hawkins County. And that's why all of us are here, right? That's why, we get paid $100 a month to do this because we love Hawkins County. And that's the only reason they're staying, but there has to come a point in time where they're like, I love it, but, I gotta live. I gotta live. And I just can't believe that you all are literally denying these people the chance to buy a home and to, and not a mansion, but a single family small home. And we're denying them that right. I talked to a guy, it's a police officer. He's gonna have to move back in with his parents because he can't afford rent anymore. So what's that look like? What's that look like? And I just hope that when this is voted on, that we will do what we can to get these wages to at least the rate of inflation. And as far as funding it, I know that's always the flip side of the coin, and I've heard commissioners say, well, I ran on the fact that I'm never going to raise taxes. Well, why would you ever run on that? You didn't know what was going to happen. You never knew. 4 years ago, who could have predicted COVID and all that this country has gone through in the last 2 years? Who could have ever predicted that? And to say that we're going to charge the same taxes that we did in 2018. A lot of y'all own businesses. Are you charging the same prices that you did in 2018? I don't think you are. I'm not. And so we have to view this the same way. And so we cannot be scared of a tax increase. We can't. Are there a lot of poor people in Hawkins County? Sure. Is it hard on them to afford even the day-to-day? Yes. But I guarantee you, if you call them up and said, hey, this is your choice. We can increase your property taxes and services continue uninterrupted, or we're going to leave them where they are, and you might not have an ambulance when you need them. Let them pick. I guarantee you know what they're going to pick. And so as far as funding it and as far as these pay raises, I just hope that we back up and really think about what we expect from these employees and what we as commissioners are. So, who cares about notaries public at the end of the day or some of this stuff or committees? Like, at the end of the day, our job is to fund this budget and to be brave enough to make a tax increase when it's needed. That's why we were elected as commissioners and nowhere else. As commissioners, to be brave enough to do a tax increase where it's needed. And I think that it's time for you all to step up and be brave.
Thank you. I've got Commissioner Kearns in front of me. Go ahead, Commissioner Kearns.
Ms. Wanger, thank you for taking my thunder.
Sorry.
I'm probably saying that I'm probably the second oldest person sitting in this room. But here's what we got. This county operates as a business. It's either going forward or it's backing up.
Amen.
And I don't want to go through the drama or anything of what's happening. We have provisions made for people who cannot afford their property taxes already in place. So we can do the drama side or we can do the factual side. The facts of it is that we're not running the business like it should be run. And we have to step up and take care of our employees, which is the most valuable asset that this business has.
Here, here.
If they don't show up tomorrow, what's the commissioner going to do? Now, I feel this way about it. I feel that nobody in this county has the authority or power to make any adjustments to our employees other than this commission. And think about that. I think it's our obligation to step up and take care of our employees and pay them what they should be paid. And I would ask this. I was in a business, out of a business, and I've had both sides of the coin. And it's not pleasant sometimes, but we have to face reality. And I'm saying that we have the authority, we have the power, if we want to say that, but we have the obligation, in my opinion, to sit here and take care of our employees. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones.
Okay, I agree with everything the others have said. Hannah, you did a wonderful job. I couldn't have said it any better. And I'm one of those old people. I want to say that I was actually called a liberal the other day because I told someone that I felt we needed a tax increase in Hawkins County. They said we needed to cut things. I don't know what there is to cut. I've looked over this budget time and time again. I don't feel anyone would want any of these things cut. And these folks that go do their job daily and don't get paid enough, that's sad. It's truly sad. These people work hard. I worked hard. I was a social worker, and I know that it's a calling that you have. Teachers, people in the court system, people that are in our law enforcement, it's a calling because you wouldn't be paid that to do what you do otherwise. And that's the way it was for me. I didn't make lots of money, but it was a decent wage. But what else I'm here to say is we have to look at our bond rate as well. If we drop below a certain point, then our bond rates are affected. It costs us more money to borrow money because we're looked at in a different way. We've got to show that we're solvent. These folks that are needy, I totally understand how it is for them. I know that not all of them have enough money to pay for things, but we do have the relief program, and I think maybe Tom spoke on that briefly. We have the tax relief program that they can file and get a portion of their taxes back. They don't have to pay it all. They can also go and apply for food stamps and see if they're eligible for that, to see if that might help with their monthly expenses, because once you're disabled or elderly, you can apply for food stamps, and a lot more expenses that you have count against your income in order for you to be eligible to afford these benefits. And the folks in our county and our state would be glad to help you with that. Also, I want to say that, like you said, I mean, I don't know what mine is. It's not going to be a lot. I'm probably one of the $20 a year people. And I've got 3 properties to pay for. But I'm like Hannah, I don't want that ambulance not to come if we need it. I have a husband that is sick and has a lot of health problems. I may have some I don't know about. We want those holes in the road patch that people complain about all the time. We want that crazy person on drugs running through our neighborhood wild and crazy, we want to have a policeman to come out and take care of them. So, and like everybody else has said, why on earth would you say you are not for a tax increase? I'm no longer going to be a commissioner after this term. I decided not to run again, and mainly because I got so tired of the complaining and the griping from the community. And always trying to tell us how to do our job. And always trying, and I know they pay taxes, but if they think they can do a better job, then they need to run. And I feel like that we need to step up and approve this tax increase and do what is best for our county, our community. Not worry about whether it's going to get you reelected or not, or whether someone's going to get ill at you or not, but do what's best for your county and your state, because that's what we were elected for. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Gold.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Roach.
whenever it's time, I've got a couple of office holders that would like to talk to the commission too, so once you're finished with everyone else, would you let me recognize some of the office holders?
Okay, I believe if this is pretty much open discussion, Sybil.
Mr. Barrett, I have a statement to make about the baby doe money. Now, Eric, please correct me if I'm wrong. It was $1.6 million, is that correct?
Roughly, that's correct, yes.
Okay. Now, that money is, those funds are in the undesignated fund balance right now, is that correct?
I've held them out. They're in the fund balance, but I've held them out because
okay.
the commission tentatively had asked to hold them until hearing the pitch from the judges, but they are in our fund balance.
They're in our fund balance,
Yes.
okay. Now, is it not proposed that this money go to help offset the deficit in the budget?
That was one of the options floating around for the money, yes.
Okay, that's a windfall that we got, but it was not to help with the budget. It was to help with the cause of what the money was given to us for, what we wanted for. So I personally do not think that that money needs to be used as a Band-Aid to help us get through this budget year. I think that's where we need a tax increase. That money needs to stay where it's supposed to be used and to help with the drug addicts and whatever, and not to have this baby doe situation happen again. So my statement is that the baby doe money should not be used to help a bleeding budget. We should stand up, be proud, and do what is necessary without using that money as a Band-Aid for our budget. I'm finished.
Thank you,
Mr. Chairman, make one comment on that.
Yes.
That's a classic example of when CTAS in your different budget classes will recommend to you not to use one-time money to help fund reoccurring expenditures. That's exactly what she's referencing there. That baby doe money is a one-time thing. We have no guarantee that that'll ever come again if we get another lawsuit like that. Matter of fact, we had another one the other day that yielded much, much less significant amount of money. So most of the things in this budget are going to be reoccurring expenditures.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I want to say just,
Go ahead.
I want to say just one thing. I'm chairman of the safety committee, and quarterly, every quarterly, I hear the same thing. Low pay at the jail. We can't get enough people to work in the jail. 911 is down to 4 employees. They need 8 or 10 to run the department. And security for the courthouse. If we don't step up and leave these things in the budget and fund them, whatever it takes, we're putting ourselves at a great the county and even ourselves as commissioners at great liability. Now you need to consider that before you say you won't vote for a tax increase.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to say just very quickly, as a commission and as a budget committee group, we've got one job, and that's to pass the budget. We've been told that time at every training we go to, everything we do, to pass a budget that will fund the county in a physical manner. We keep talking about these low-income people. The low-income people we're talking about are the very people that are out there busting their hind ends to do their job.
Amen.
And we will not give them a raise. They have not had a raise in how long? 3 years. So if we give them a raise, we're gonna take, hopefully, some of those people off the low income, and they're gonna be able to make a living wage. So, you know, that's what you need to think about. And I agree with Sybil, this baby dough money is a one-time thing. And we all read the newspapers and see the news every day. The drugs that are in this community is unreal. We're not getting these people help. There's mental issues, there's drug issues. We're not getting them any help. And if we can take that money and use it to get help for some of these people, then it's going to make our law enforcement job a lot easier. And once again, you're helping. But when a police officer makes more than an employee at McDonald's, we've got a sad situation here. They can go to Kingsport and start out at $17.25 an hour. They're topping out here at barely $16 an hour. And these are officers that have been here for many years. So, you know, I don't want a tax increase, but I'm more than willing to pay a tax increase if it gets us where we need to be. And we just can't keep kicking this can down the road because, you know, it's not going to get any better. And all these employees, the county employees, deserve a raise. Thank you.
Are there any other office holders that wanted to address the commission tonight?
I do.
Sheriff Lawson, thank you, sir.
Just briefly, because I've addressed you many times, and you know the problem. Of course, while we're talking about baby dough money, I sure would appreciate some of my drug fund. Because we're the one out here day and night taking these drug dealers off the street. So I appreciate that consideration. I believe the mayor's doing that.
Mine in the courtroom does this if my phone gets too close to the microphone. I don't know if
anyway,
I have the same issue or not.
If everybody can speak loud enough, I can turn them off. You want me to turn them off?
We'll try it and see they can hear me okay. I guess I've been around most longer than any of you here since I started in '77. And I can tell you the difference between Hawkins County and just say, for instance, the Rogersville PD and their pay increase. When I started in '77, I made the same pay as deputy did.
1877.
Yeah. Made the same pay as the deputy did. And we get a 3% raise. The deputies get a 3% raise. And the city would get a 10% raise. The county get a 3% raise. The city get a 10% raise. The county get 3 more. That's how we got so far behind. That's why now the officers at the Rogersville Police Department makes more than my chief deputy does. And when I left the city of Rogersville in 1990 to be chief deputy for Sheriff Clevenger, I was their detective and I had to take cut and pay. And I can tell you that 97% of my employees are still working for you because, like you said, they love it. They love working here. I got officers living in other counties driving here and they don't even want to work in the county that they live in because they'd rather work here. And just tell you a funny story. I'm on the board of the 911, as you know. And Director Campbell, we was having a conversation. He's standing out there and he said, well, I lost this dispatcher. That's 6 years experience. And I said, don't tell me about that. I lost 15 when he walked out the door and left. But the moral of the story is, ladies and gentlemen, is you can put a body in there, but you cannot get that experience back. When I send somebody to you, I want the most highly trained professional officer that I can have to come and help you and your family. I want them to go home at night. I don't want this county to be civilly liable because we turned our head. We turned our back on our employees. I'm 6 positions down in the jail. 2 of them's work crew people. Actually, I guess 3 is. That's the one's been saving thousands and thousands of dollars for this county since I've been in office, even at the mayor's office and everywhere else. Nancy, we spent a fortune there. The middle school, everybody's got stories. But I can't send these streets if I ain't got somebody to watch them. And I've been down for 2 positions. For months now, I'm having to pay overtime to get these people out here just to mowing at your convenience centers and stuff. I got 2 patrol officers down. That takes a lot of money. And I know some of y'all are new to the commission. This is first and probably last term. But this problem started long before. Like you talk about passing this on to the next commission. It's been going on for years. I done told you, Hawkins County spent over $5 million training people to go somewhere else. And some of you won't think, well, we got 1.43 for the baby doe money. You're blowing money by not investing in the employees in this county. Just imagine if you done all the office holders. If they've lost employees for better paying jobs, how much would that add up to? They got to train their people too. Raise my taxes. I'm a taxpayer. I've moved in this county my whole entire life. You raise my taxes. I talked to 2 patrol officers today. One's a sergeant and one's not. And y'all gave them a raise a couple of years ago. And when you count everything that they take out of their paycheck, they take home less money after they got that raise. Then their insurance goes up. It's a sad situation. I've got employees now that are waiting to see how this commission reacts on these raises. And if y'all don't do the right thing, I'm going to lose them too. I'm doing the best I can to keep y'all safe. I fulfilled every promise that I made y'all in 2010 when I took office. We got a great county. We got a safe county. We got a drug problem. I'm glad Jeff moved to Rogersville. I don't let everybody in East Tennessee know who I arrest. But anyway, we work very hard. I got great people. They will give their life for you, and they don't even know you for you. And I appreciate the consideration. It's time we step up, just like that 6 or 7 has made it. It's time. Let's invest in our employees. Like I told you before, when I lose an officer, I should go to one of these cities and say, hey, I need you. Come work for me. If we'd done that 15 years ago, that would have been happening. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff. Chuck. I believe we have Commissioner Kearns. Is there any office holders got any comments? Anything y'all want to discuss?
I want to thank Hannah, especially for the speech she gave. You know, she just said what's needed to be said for a long, long time. And I know so many commissioners over the years have said, I will not vote for taxes. And just like she said, that is absolutely ridiculous. You know, I don't like paying taxes, but, you know, I am taken care of by the state of Tennessee, basically, because they formulate our pay. But you don't know how hard it is to walk in an office when you've got employees. I've got one's been there 14 years. I've lost on my long term. But, you know, when you start somebody out at a salary of $7.85 or $9, the most was $9, you know, it's hard to do. And my son's a cop. He has worked for Ronnie for 20 years. It is a shame what those boys are paid. If I didn't help Scott, I don't know what they would do. And these other guys, EMS and rescue, it's a joke. You know, and they're the ones that are gonna hurt from this, and they're the ones that we're gonna, if it comes home to your families, I hope you will think about if you voted no to give them an increase, because I'm telling you, they work their behinds off. They don't rest. Lynn is doing the very best he can with 911, and right there is your lifeline. And the radio system, it's a joke right now, and I just pray how soon it gets fixed. I wish each of you could listen to the scanners. I listen for Scott and the other boys I know because I do a lot of praying. And you know, they'll go 30 and 40 minutes with absolutely no contact. And you've got to send officers. And about the time the officer gets there, they finally get enough service that they can hear the radios. So there's the waste of gas. You just don't realize until you live it. My dad started the rescue squad in 1958. And I've told Lynn I've aggravated him. My family, we were the first dispatchers, I guess, that you had, because the rescue squad phone rang in our house from 1969 until 1982. We answered the squad calls. There had to be somebody at Mom and Dad's house 24/7. There were 4 of us that had to man the phones at all times. And I know the stress of that and how hard it is. But you know, now you've got all these state mandates that they've got to do this and got to do that. And you know, it's a shame the position we've put these people in. And I just pray that you all will do what is right. You know, because if it comes home to you at some point, you're going to realize a $20 a year increase on your taxes, a $50 a year, $100. It is well worth whatever it will cost for you to take care of the problems this county's got. Because we have the best here, but we're not going to keep them if something's not done. And I want to thank all of you that have spoken tonight. Tom, Valerie, Glenda, Hannah, you did an excellent job. And I appreciate you all. I appreciate all of you. But just please try to do what's right for our employees and for this county, for yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kirkpatrick. We appreciate that. Jason, go ahead, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. One thing that I do want to address, I appreciate some of the kind words about EMS here tonight. Most of you know we're not a county service, so therefore we're not going to benefit from a county raise. I completely support every office holder, law enforcement, anyone that would benefit from a raise, because from my standpoint, I know what it's like in this county and trying to survive and provide a service at the same time. But I do want to touch base on this year's budget. Hawkins County EMS did request $300,000, did present at the budget hearing the case for that money. We have received $60,000 across the board for the last 5 years that I've been coming to the budget meetings, budget hearings, and county commission meetings. That $60,000 does very, very minimal for us. In a given year, our write-offs are around $250,000 to $500,000 is what we have to write off. That's not counting the insurance required write-off that we have to do, which totals roughly around $2 to $2.5 million. I just want to make sure that all county commissioners understand that the $60,000 that we graciously get from the county is very much appreciated, but it goes very, very small into what we have to operate with. I requested $230,000 for an ambulance this year. What that does is helps offset our budget to where we are able to pay maybe a little higher than surrounding counties. Just like the sheriff has said, we've lost a lot of good paramedics and EMTs out of this county to surrounding counties that are county funded that get significant raises every year. So we try to provide the best pay that we can for our employees, as well as the best benefits to try to retain them here and try to give them the best equipment to do their job with. So with that being said, that is where our county request came from this year, and I appreciate anything that y'all were able to help us with. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge. Commissioner Herman. But, do anybody else have any other questions? Commissioner Davis, go ahead.
Judy, I didn't speak, but I'm going to. Didn't plan on it. I worked for the Sheriff's Department for 30 years. And it wasn't easy. Ronnie can tell you that. We did without. We switched money in budgets so they could have bulletproof vests, and people asked us why they needed them. I lived through 2 officers dying on duty. I held one boy's hand because he had laid beside of his officer, the officer that died. I met him at the emergency room and I held his hand. You folks don't know what it's like to work for nothing, to have nothing. I have been blessed. You know, I think if I gave you $20 a month, it wouldn't be enough. But you're talking $20, $30 a year in tax increase, so these boys can have just a little bit. I've paid light bills for boys that didn't have the money to pay it. Done a lot of things. I love my kids call me Mom. I loved them. But I saw them do without. And they answered the calls and never complained, never did anything, but they did their job with professionalism, accuracy. You could almost guarantee if they went out, the problem was going to be solved. And it wasn't great big problems like the drugs and things that are now. But they were the community. They loved the community. I remember one of our sheriffs says, if you see a man standing in a field, go talk to him. Your community. And that's what we were. The day has come that community is over. These boys put their lives on the line every day for you. And like I say, I think I could scrape up $20 a month if it come to it, to see that I had some protection. My son, from the time I started working at the Sheriff's Department, he said, Mom, I want to work for Hawkins County. He couldn't afford to work for Hawkins County. So the last 3 years of his life, he worked for Sullivan County. That was his dream, to work for Hawkins County, and he couldn't afford it. So folks, I've never said I don't want taxes. I hate them because I pay them. But there comes a time when you've got to bite the bullet and decide, do you want effective law enforcement, emergency services, 911, or do you want to sit there on the side of a road and see who's going to pick you up and take you to the emergency room? That's it. And I'm not on any of his
Thank you, Commissioner. Do you have any other questions or thoughts or questions for Mr. Buchanan or anybody? Commissioner Kearns.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I've sat here and listened to everyone talk, there's a part of me, you know, that you get really saddened. But I've always lived life this way. Something good will come out of something bad if we look for it. We got a bad situation and we've got to where we can correct it. And I feel that when I look at what's happening, Sullivan County, Kingsport, places like that, well and good. Marshtown, well and good. We're Hawkins County. We can do the same. When we read and see what's happening in Bristol and Sullivan County up there, I'll give you a little example, and I don't want to bore you with it. I grew to live in North Carolina many years, and whenever Harris opened in Cherokee, North Carolina. Guess what? You don't go to Cherokee today and get your picture made with some headdress and get to beat a drum and see a smoky bear. Those guys don't need that. It came to heaven. My point of it is we have an opportunity. If Hawkins County gets its house in order and we have the ability to do that, then we're going to be able to lure a lot of people. We've got 2 super highways going to Bristol. Everybody knows we live in Bristol. Why don't we offer Hawkins County? Yeah. It's just plain and simple. We have an opportunity to take advantage of situations that's out there. We have one of the best promoters that I've ever seen sitting right here to my right. That spends 24/7 doing this type of thing. She'll be right there active, pulling hard. We have a situation that is bad right now. We have the opportunity to correct it. And we need to step up, correct it, everybody go down the road and feel good about Hawkins County. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Carson. Okay. Is there any more questions, discussion?
I'd just like to ask a question, and maybe nobody will volunteer to answer it, and that's okay, but for those of you that have been against the tax increase, can you just tell me why? Why that is your opinion? Yeah, we know who y'all are, so just let me know.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I'm sorry, no, I'm out of turn. So I've sat here, and many of you have called me an outsider. Some of you voted against me, appointed. Okay, I moved here as an outsider from a state that loves her taxes, the Virginia Commonwealth of. Okay, I moved here because of low taxes, quality of life, and everything else. But I'll tell you right now, for the services, the other reasons I moved to Hawkins County, you need to quit saying, I want to be reelected, so I'm not going to raise taxes, because that's really what you're saying. And you need to do what's right, what you have a responsibility to do, not just an obligation, a moral obligation and the responsibility to take care of the citizens of this county, of which I am one happily and proudly now. And pay these employees, his employees, the county employees, what they deserve, so you quit exasperating the problem and forcing people to go to other counties. You will keep them here if you start paying them. And you keep saying raise. It's not a raise that you're offering. You're just offering a cost of living allowance to try and sustain what they're getting hammered for inflation. And you're not even close to keeping up with that. You're not giving them a raise. You're just giving them a stipend is what you're doing. And you're sitting here saying, all of you, that it's the right thing to do, but yet you voted against it. I'm sorry, but I'm confused. Okay? Do what's right. Do what's right for the employees and for the citizens of this county.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, also, yes, I've said this another time, and I may get shot when I walk outside for saying. Eric said something earlier about, periodically, we raise taxes. I don't care to raise taxes. We don't do something a little bit every year that needs to be done. So regardless of what anybody thinks or says, taxes should probably be raised a little bit every year. And then once you get to a point where we need to be, we'll start making some money. We'll start saving some money. I mean, so I'll never run on not raising taxes. You know, like I said, there's some things I'm for, some things I'm against, and you know, taxes isn't one of them. I'll look at money. I'm not worried about it. But we actually, when I came in 2 terms ago, I said it then. I think I told Mike this the other day. I said, I think I was saying then we should have been doing $1, 2 pennies a year or something every year. Wheel tax years ago, if we would have done, I'm not against the wheel tax because I was mad about how big an increase it was. But now that we're there, I'm not gonna say it's a stop. Maybe we need to add a little bit, just a little bit every year. I'm not saying we have to do it. A little bit every year to it is gonna have to be done because nothing gets no cheaper. I mean, you gotta do it. And you know, nobody's really gonna fuss at any of us or say anything bad about any of us. They're not really gonna even recognize if it's costing them an extra $2 or $3 a year. They're not gonna say anything about it, but over the whole board, that's a lot of money. You know, and that's my thought. I personally, you know, don't mind to me one way or the other who votes for it, votes against it. It's your own opinion, and I don't care. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, it's just, you know, it's your opinion. Do what you want to do. You know, I mean, you know, it's going to have to be done. You know, and I'm not just saying it's going to be done right now. Again, it needs to be done every year. I mean, periodically, annually, whatever Eric said a while ago, that needs to be done. A little bit.
Thank you, Commissioner Fields. I guess, for me personally, and I've kind of waited and listened to the discussion, and as chairman, I've kind of sit back and tried to do what a chairman should do and try to remain neutral. But this is open discussion, and I'm just going to briefly give some thoughts of my own thoughts. Back probably 6 years ago, I was on the budget committee, okay? Probably the hardest job I ever had was being on the budget committee at that time. First meeting that the budget committee met, we were $2 million in the hole, starting out of the gate. We looked at department heads' budgets, and we cut where we felt like we could cut. Some budgets we couldn't cut. But the budget committee at that time, we cut what we could cut. Then we got into the funding issue, and the budget committee recommended a bill tax increase. $100, basically, $100. I voted for the wheel tax, okay? I've got 3 vehicles. I run 2 of them. The third vehicle, I take to the dump and haul trash off in it. But I pay bill tax for 3 vehicles. I seen the paper just last week, City of Bristol, Tennessee, taking applications for police officers. Starting out, they pay them $16 an hour. We've got jailers, $12 an hour, okay? We got road officers. One way of looking at it, jailer's job is probably more dangerous than the road officer. Because people in jail, they're in jail. They got nothing to lose to get out, you know. Police officer out on the road officer, police has got backup. Jail's got, according to the paper, night shift run's got four jailers, okay? Folks, I'm gonna tell you, where I work at, I'm over a warehouse. I order parts and equipment. I have 3 full-time employees at my warehouse. I'm one of them. I've got 2 guys to help me. Full-time, 40 hours a week, 3 guys. And you expect a jailer with 4 guys to take care of 270-some people? You know, it costs me X number of dollars to get from my house to work 5 days a week. I can't cut the gas that I have to get to work. I mean, it's a given. I have to have it. I can't control the price of the gas, but I still have to get to work. At the mayor candidates forum that was held at Turkey High School, Volunteer High School, the candidates were asked basically about the wheel tax. what would you have done different, or could you have done different as a way to fund the wheel tax, other than the wheel tax? And best I remember, the consensus from the candidates at that time was basically there was no other choice. You know, I can't tell you to vote taxes up. I can't tell you to cut taxes. That's not my job. People elect you as commissioners to do a job. And I had a question that I had asked Mr. Buchanan today before I came, and it was about the budget right here that's in Commissioner's package. I asked Mr. Buchanan, if you take this budget as it's presented, proposed, with no changes, and not taking money out of your general fund balance, what would it take to fund it? Mr. Buchanan graciously replied, and he told me, he said, to fully balance the budget, on paper, it would take 26.27 cents to adequately fund it. That's where it's at, and we're talking 3% increases, 4% increases, 8% increases. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you, you've got a job to do. It's the decision time coming Monday night, guys. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know if taxes going up. I don't know if cuts are coming. I don't know. Buck stops with the county commission, and that's where it's at. We're going to kick it down the road and let the new commissioners coming in deal with it. We're going to take care of it. It's decision time. Somebody's knocking at the door. We got to figure out what we're going to do. Got to wish to do it. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
If I got one more comment, if you don't care.
Go ahead.
And then I'll be quiet about this. I don't know if any of us, and I'm talking to everybody sitting out here too, not just us commissioners, because a lot of people don't realize this. Okay, so raises and stuff that we give, no matter what you make, no matter where you're at. Okay, nobody makes enough money where they're at. Nobody thinks they make enough money anyway. And I only know this because of running a business. One of the commissioners earlier mentioned, there's stuff out there that you've got to pay more taxes. There's grants, or there's this you can fill out. You get food stamps, there's something else. Well, what a lot of people don't realize, I had an employee, whether it been recent or a long time ago, I was going to give a raise to. And he asked me not to give him a raise because he's going to lose his food stamps. And then he explained to me, by giving him just $1 an hour, in my mind, I'm giving $1 an hour. I mean, that's a pretty good raise. Where I, growing up, nobody got $1 an hour raise. He was going to lose twice that much in food stamps. So when you start thinking about that, I know we've got county employees that have to be on it, because my employees make a lot more than some of these people do. I mean, I'm not saying they are, but I mean, and then I start sitting there thinking about this, I thought, man, are they going to lose their food stamps? Are they going to have to pay more money? I know one guy his rent was going to go up. He's like, man, that's all I pay more. And I've had people ask me not to give them a raise. And you know what? And I don't care to say that. They'll say, man, if you're going to give it to them, you just want to give it to them the other day. I'm not going to take it if you don't. I've had a guy quit. Well, I actually didn't have a guy quit. I had a guy quit coming to work every Monday for about 4 weeks until I finally asked him what his problem was. And he owned up to it. He gave me a raise. I was going to lose my food stamps. So I just cut a day's work out. I was losing my food stamps. I was making more money on food stamps. I can pay my family on that extra money, and I can't with that raise. It makes sense, And I guess I just say that. I make that comment to say, no matter what we do, if we do, probably never's going to be enough. But that's something that we better think about too. That we think we're helping a lot of times, but then we have other situations like our state and our government that does fight against us. That takes it away when we try to help. They take other services away. Anyway, just food for thought to people who don't think that it hurts a lot of times. Everybody needs it. So
I think the fact that our county employees would even qualify for food stamps should make us crawl under the table.
Pretty much. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this, I was doing a job here a while back, and I seen one of our sheriff's deputies, first day on his job in the apartment. I thought he was maybe there serving the water, there's something going on. But after 7 days working on the same job, I realized he lived there. And nothing against where he lived or anything else, but I was like, surely he makes more money than to have to live out there. I mean, and it was Section 8, you know, and I was like, and I felt bad. I thought, you know, maybe he wants to live there. I don't know, and it's not my business, but I mean, I kind of felt bad about the fact that I had police cars in this county that was sitting there, and I thought to myself, like, yeah, I tell you, he don't have to go far to find something to do every time. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of, I mean, but it's not good. I mean, you know.
When I worked at DHS, I had a person who applied for food stamps. I don't even remember who it was now. And they were a deputy. And I saw what they made. And this was before I became county commissioner. I told my coworker, I said, you know, I feel sorry for this person because I would not do their job for what they get paid, because they could go to parties and work and make the same thing and not be in danger all day long. So it's true, it's out there, and you know, Dawson said he wouldn't be mad. I will be mad at people if they don't help get this tax increase done so that we can give these people a decent raise. And maybe that may make them do it anyway because they don't want me to like them. But I mean, I just think that we need to stand up and have a few you know whats and do it. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Gill.
You know what? You I also had a deal in place.
Yeah. Maybe if they raise taxes, they can afford Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I came to this meeting tonight because I felt it was very important, and I had dental surgery this morning, and I just woke up at 15:04 from all the junk they gave me and had to hitch a ride down and hitch a ride back.
She's riding home with me, which was very nice.
And that's because I felt it was that important.
What you're saying, you make companies while you're back. Judge, right?
He's gotta get him first. Just real quick, just if you guys aren't busy Wednesday morning from 9 to 12, come have a seat on the first or second row of the courtroom and just watch. Just look at people when they walk in, look at what we have to deal with, and just educate yourself about what I'm talking about and see it firsthand. And I think you'll understand why I'm so passionate about it and why it's so important.
And your secretary always has a hard time making it to Wednesday nights at church because you have so many people on your docket.
I agree with what you said, Judge Ross. Charity starts at home in our county.
Okay, any more questions, discussion? Let's go with, right back here, go ahead. What's your name, sir?
Eric Edstrom. I've been a resident of the county for 10 years. I've lived in 20 states. I would say that this is one of the finest places I've lived in terms of quality of life. And I'm glad I came. And I will gladly pay $20 a month or a year to support the infrastructure, the law enforcement, and the people. I'm concerned about the drug issues. We work with our neighborhood to secure ourselves and defend ourselves, but I want to support the law enforcement here. Yes, I'm on a tight budget, but yeah, I'm all for supporting the people that live here and the quality of life. Like I say, I've lived in states where I paid 4 or 5 times the amount of taxes and had no land. I left those places for a reason, but I'm going to persuade my neighbors that we need to support the people that work hard here, and I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir. Mr. Williams, Kurt, is that right, Kurt?
I just got a few things I'd like to say. I heard all night, county employees, they need raises. I agree with that. But I'm a volunteer fire department member. I'm a chief of Lakeview Fire Department. We volunteer all of our time. Look at what you're giving to the volunteers. That's all I'm asking.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else? Okay.